All right, I call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees for March 10th, 2021 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the acting town clerk please call roll?
Trustee Wakeman.
Here.
Trustee Granquist.
Here.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Here.
Trustee Meisner.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Here.
Mayor Austin.
Here. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Acting town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Do we have any citizens' comments this evening? Raise your hand. Hearing none, we'll skip over citizens' comment and we'll go to recognition of Holly Traylor. Holly, could you please come up and join us? Okay. Holly Traylor has been a board member, a trustee with us for 3 years. And in that time, she has served well on our committee. And last year when COVID started, she was the first one to think of the people and, you know, who would have enough to eat and what kind of emergency preparations we needed to make. So we really appreciate her thoughtfulness for the community. That is also carried out as she participates with Sower of Seeds in feeding those that have less than the rest of us. So in addition, she has been instrumental in our Go Mill Committee in helping to get our parks organized, and we had a nice presentation this evening at our work session talking about prioritization, what our parks need, and how we can better serve our community. So we certainly appreciate her efforts, and while unfortunately she had some personal issues come up that she wasn't able to continue as a trustee, we certainly hope that she's able to continue being involved in our community and that we see her around often with our Go Mill Committee and other such types of activities. So we'd like to present this plaque to Holly in recognition of her efforts as a trustee for the town of Milliken, and thank you so much for your service. Thank you. Oh, right. She's crying. All right. Are there any discussion or comments on the meeting minutes of February 24th, 2021? I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the minutes of February 24th, 2021. Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we have the Town Administrator's Report. Administrator Powell.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So just to keep everybody updated, we had talked about there not being any water available for the dogs at the dog park. Well, we've remedied that. There is now a pump at the dog park with potable water. So our Parks Department just installed that this last week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And also a path has been created that leads from the dog park to Centennial Lake Trail. So it's an easier access for people going from one place to the other. Parks Department are purchasing trees for different areas in town. Some of these trees will be used for our Arbor Day celebration, which will take place at Lola Park. The date for that has not been determined yet, so we'll let you know. Scott did tell you about the crack sealing machine that we have received. Training has occurred. They use Streets and Wildcat Acres for this training, so less traveled road for them to get this training. Parks and Streets Department are also preparing for what could be a large amount of snow this weekend, and so you'll see them out and about town, I'm sure, both Saturday and Sunday. Finance Department has prepared and will be sending out about 198 letters to those who have overused water in 2020. I met with Steve and I met with Ascent Broadband. Trustee Granquist, this is in response to what we were discussing last meeting. They actually reached out to us before we had a moment to reach out to them. Regarding leasing space on the town's water tank. This lease agreement will be a non-exclusive, where the other company wanted an exclusive agreement. They also would pay the town, and I have to read this, pay the town a monthly rental payment of 3% of gross wireless internet subscriber revenue, internet provider services invoiced for each subscriber directly connected to the water tower, or $100, whichever is greater. So per month.
Okay.
So a much better deal than what we were getting before. And they've also said that they would charge the town for the areas that we need the wireless at the water tank and at the RO facility at a residential rate, which is about, for what we need, about $35 a month each area. So I think it sounds, I forwarded the agreement on to our attorney, and we'll be working on it from there.
Do we know if there's any Ascent subscribers in town already?
There are.
Oh, I'd never heard of them, but okay.
And did you say 3% or $100, whichever is greater or whichever is less?
Greater.
It says or $100, so I'm assuming no less than,
No less than 100. Okay.
but I can get that clarified. That was my assumption, no less than.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And $35, is that per
Right,
facility?
yes.
And how many facilities does the town have?
Well, we need it for the water tank so we can install the cameras. And we need it for the RO facility in order to do the same thing there. And we were also talking about putting one on the PD building in case our internet goes down, that we could still access phones. Is that correct, Steve? When our internet goes down with TDS,
Yeah.
our police department doesn't have phone system, and the system goes through here back to Town Hall, correct?
Correct.
Did I explain that correctly?
Yes. It's for redundancy.
So,
Thank you.
so we're not totally dependent. So that might be 3 areas that we would place them in.
Okay.
And that's what I have for this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, moving on to the consent agenda, we have Resolution 2109, appointing board member to fill vacancy. I will take a motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2109, appointing Amanda Long to fill the vacancy of board member until the next regular election in April 2022.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Swearing in ceremony, Carrie Reinberger, Acting Town Clerk.
Amanda. raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Amanda Long,
I, Amanda Long,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and enforce
that I will support and enforce
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the state of Colorado
and the state of Colorado
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the town of Milliken,
of the town of Milliken,
and shall faithfully perform,
and shall faithfully perform
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities
the duties of office of trustee
the duties of office of trustee
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations on this.
Pause for a moment for Trustee Long to be seated. All right. Our first action agenda item tonight is Resolution 2106, deeming certain fees paid by Cody Gartrell, and will be presented by Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. Before you tonight is a request to consider fees paid in lieu of maintenance. Mr. Gartrell has the next agenda item as well. It's a petition to vacate a triangular portion of an unconstructed part of South Beulah Avenue. This property owner and previous property owners have been maintaining this, mowing it, keeping it weed-free, et cetera, for several decades. And so he was requesting to be able to proceed with a vacation petition without the administrative fee or posting a deposit. So that's the resolution before you. Staff is recommending, after visiting with the town attorney, staff is recommending approval of the waiver.
Any questions from the town board? Trustee Meisner?
No.
Trustee Rodriguez?
No.
Trustee Wakeman?
Do we have a record of the expense that the town will be incurring to process this if we move forward with it? So for staff time, advertising, notices?
We did not keep track of the amount of staff time that was dedicated to the vacation. The 300-foot property owner notices, but there were probably maybe, I'm looking at Carrie, maybe 20, so $10 for postage. And then, of course, I don't get the bills for the public notices in the paper, so I'm not sure how much that would cost us. Those would be our hard costs as far as I can determine. Do you know what we normally get billed for public notices from the Breeze?
It's not a whole lot.
It's very minimal. Any other questions?
No, not now.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have none.
Trustee Long?
No.
Trustee Granquist?
None for me.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move we adopt resolution 2106, deeming certain fees paid by Cody Gartrell.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
No.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
I'm going to abstain because I don't have enough information yet.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing for consideration of approval of ordinance number 790. Again, this will be Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director. And the time is 6:44. Since this is a public hearing, I am opening the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. This petition and ordinance number vacates an approximately 790 square foot triangle of South Beulah Avenue that was abandoned or orphaned, as I like to call it, when the Union Pacific Railroad built the railroad track through a portion of the original platted Block 65 of the town of Milliken. So, and then we further kind of orphaned it when the town vacated the south half of Elm Street. So this particular parcel literally butts up next to this individual's property and is isolated between his property and the railroad tracks. It hasn't been constructed, as I mentioned. It's just been a bare piece of ground, but platted nonetheless as a public right-of-way. And the findings of fact are listed in this staff packet. I won't read those, but they do comply with Section 16.4.540, various sections of the municipal code. And staff is recommending approval and adoption of Ordinance 790 to vacate this small piece of unused right-of-way. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board? Trustee Grenquist.
Upon vacation, what then happens to that piece?
So that's determined by statute, and we're not deeding the property. We're simply vacating the right-of-way. In my best assessment, it belongs to the adjacent owner, which is the person that's filed the application. But that, we're not advising him on that. It's his to determine with his attorney. But we vacate it, and there is an automatic vesting of the ownership per statute.
So we are not owners of that parcel, but rather right-of-way on that parcel?
Well, we're owners of the right-of-way, but there's a specific statutory process when you vacate a right-of-way.
Okay. I guess my curiosity is, are we putting this up for sale to a nearby property owner to conjoin it to his property?
No, immediately upon vacating the right-of-way, it becomes the property of the individual according to statutes. So our part is done at that point.
The only other property owner in the area would be the Union Pacific Railroad. So it literally is sandwiched in between the north half of Elm, Mr. Gartrell's property, and the railroad tracks. So there really isn't a benefit inured to anybody besides the railroad, which I can't imagine they need 790 square feet, or Mr. Gartrell.
So at that point, Mr. Gartrell would then assume ownership of it, or does he already own it?
He does not own the property, although I'm not clear if he's been paying taxes on it because of the way that the county assessor has included it in his property. But it is platted right-of-way, dedicated to the public, so it is town-controlled and town, I guess you'd say, owned until it's vacated. And then at the time it is vacated, the state statutes dictate the disposition of the property.
So the deed for that parcel still resides in the town?
There's really no deed. When we do a subdivision, we don't get deeds for the streets.
Okay.
They're just dedicated to the public.
Any other questions?
Not yet.
Okay.
Some confusion here. I'm just trying to understand how the property is not owned by either party, but yet we're vacating it. I understand we're vacating the right-of-way, but I don't think I have a clear answer on who owns it right now. Is it just unclaimed land? The first one there gets to stake a claim, or what?
Well, the town owns it. I can tell you that. The town owns it right now.
Okay.
Yes,
So
it's a
when we
platted
vacate-
street, and by virtue of that, it's deemed owned by the town.
Okay.
But there's no deed necessary because the vesting occurs immediately on vacating the right. The reason we're maybe being a little cautious here is we honestly don't know exactly what the Union Pacific Railroad owns. We did some research, and it appears that they have a right-of-way, and in their case, that's different. But it's not clear at all that they have ownership of the land under their right-of-way. Because they don't, if we assume that they don't, then this definitely belongs to the adjacent landowner, which is the applicant. But there was a point at which we just thought it was not the town's place to necessarily do all that research. So we looked at some deeds, couldn't come to a conclusion, and by vacating it, we're doing what the town can do. Does that help?
So by vacating it, we're basically transferring the care of it, at least, if not ownership, to Traylor?
Yes.
Any questions, Trustee Long?
I don't think so.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have no questions.
Trustee Wakeman?
No.
Trustee Rodriguez?
How many years has Mr. Cottrell taken care of that property, if at all?
May of last year? He purchased it in May of last year. The previous property owner reached out to me. He had owned it for several decades, and in fact, apparently had some type of a verbal agreement with the town at one point in time to utilize the property, but we never could find anything in writing, and he wasn't able to find anything either, so.
So the town hasn't used any of the resources to maintain that section. Mr. Cottrell has done that?
Right.
That's all I have.
Okay. Trustee Meisner?
Well, the only question I would have would be whether or not the railroad has, whether it belongs to the railroad. But again, I don't think that the town needs to look into that. I think that probably would be up to the property owner to find out.
Okay. All right. Is there any public comment at this time? This is a public hearing. Okay. Any, Mr. Watkins, any questions on Zoom pertaining to this Ordinance 790? Thank you. All right, hearing no public comments, we're going to close the public hearing at 6:51. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move to adopt Ordinance 790, an ordinance vacating approximately 790 square feet of south of Beulah Avenue, easterly of the Union Pacific Railroad right-of-way, south of the south half, S half, of vacated Elm Street, west of Block 65 of the town of Milliken.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Granquist?
Yes.
Trustee Long?
I think I'm going to abstain from this one too. I'm not up to date.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is consideration for approval of an agreement with professional services for Tate and Associates, Scott Clem, Streets and Facilities Director, and Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director.
And I did want to note both engineers or representatives from Tate are on Zoom if you have any questions for them as well. That would be Brian and Alex.
Okay, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. This is a long-awaited process that we've been looking really forward to. We had 8 applications, as you guys seen, that did come in. We were really impressed with the numbers that came in. A lot of really qualified companies. We had a hard time picking, really. We narrowed it down to 4 for interviews, and conclusion of everybody on an interview board, we feel Tate's going to provide us with the best services, most in-house services that we need, and they're ready to roll, ready to work with us. I will say I've had past dealings with the former town I was with, used Tate for a lot of their services. I was very happy with them. They helped us a lot over there, so I did have a little background on them before they came in. Pepper, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, I like their proposal because they really address the most review of land use type applications, whereas some of the others were light in that area. They also have an on-staff surveyor, which is one thing that we really need as a town, and so they won't be farming that out. We expect faster response times as a result of that.
Yeah, and with that, they're just Johnson Corner's their main office. They're a short drive from here to there, quick response time for us. Like I said, the big seller to me was I'm familiar with their construction inspection services that we used them a lot with. They are very thorough. They will be very helpful in our process of everything we want to move forward with. So I guess any questions for us or Alex or Brian that are on the line?
Terrific. Thank you. Okay, opening it up for board discussion, starting with Trustee Wakeman.
I don't have any questions.
Trustee Rodriguez.
I'm sorry, Pepper, how many staff members did you say they had? Or do you know by chance?
Alex, Brian, how many staff members are you going to be using for us?
So we'll use a variety of staff members, but we have 15 in our office currently, all of which are able to work on the project depending on what type of task is put in front of us.
Thank you.
And I guess in addition to that, we have on our overall company, we have over 200 associates that can jump in, but we don't anticipate any of that being needed. Everything is planned to be served from our Colorado office.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Meisner, any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. Trustee Granquist.
None for me.
Trustee Long.
None.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
I have none.
Terrific. Hearing no further questions, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve an agreement for professional services with Tate and Associates for on-call engineering services.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Long.
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Welcome aboard, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is consideration for approval of ordinance number 789, penalty provisions. This will be presented by Matthew Gould, Town Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance that's been before the board before in a regular meeting and also in a couple of work sessions. What we're doing is we're trying to update our penalty provisions scattered throughout the municipal code in order to reflect the fact that we switched to a municipal court of record a few months ago. In essence, that changes the maximum penalties allowed. And in the process, we also took made a second effort to further consolidate. So the result is something that I think has been before the board before, and happy to answer any questions.
All righty. Opening it up for questions, starting with Trustee Meisner.
Matt has already answered all the questions that I had.
Thank you. Trustee Rodriguez.
I have no questions.
Trustee Wakeman.
I have no questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
No questions.
Trustee Long.
No questions at this point.
Trustee Granquist.
None for me.
Thank you. Hearing no further questions, I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to approve or adopt ordinance number 789 and ordinance of the Town of Milliken, Colorado, updating fine and penalty provisions to correspond to the authorized for a municipal court of record.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Long.
I'm going to abstain from this one.
Okay. Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner. Oh, twice.
I still say yes.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
And Trustee Granquist.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody?
I think we got it all.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to turn the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem Leron Ehrlich. I'm recusing myself due to conflict of interest. The owner of the coffee and food vending business also serves on the Milliken Events Committee Board along with myself. So therefore, I am stepping out.
And I need to recuse myself as well because I'm in the same situation as Mayor Austin. Sorry.
Okay, action agenda item number E is consideration for approval of a license agreement for coffee and food vending. Attorney McGould.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The item before you is an agreement to license a space within 1101 Broad Street to Millhouse Coffee for the purpose of setting up a coffee service within that building. It's characterized as a license instead of a lease because typically a lease involves exclusive possession, and this is really, we're making it available for them to use to conduct their business. This is an agreement that we did circulate to their attorney and adopted the comments that their attorney made, and so it's for your consideration.
Okay. Do you have any comments? Starting with Mrs. Meaner.
I have no comments.
Mrs. Wakeman.
I have a question regarding the fee for use of the kitchen, and it kind of looks to me like we're looking at, I think it was about 65 hours a month that the kitchen would be available, and the fee of $75 per month seems low to me for that number of hours, but I don't know if there's other reason why it's that low. Can staff answer my question?
I can try. The reason, it's a starter business for this person, and our kitchen is a health certified kitchen in order for her to be able to put together some of the items that she'll be selling at the coffee house. So that's the reason why the cost is low. The kitchen sits vacant most of the week, and at least at the same time we'll be getting some action in the library with this coffee house, I do believe, as we had done before. And if we keep our prices lower, that person will be able to keep their prices low enough to attract more business.
I have no problem with that. I just wanted to know if there was a clarification of the low rate and for the business that will be coming to that area. I think it's a good move for us.
Okay. Mr. Granquist.
My question is as far as the build out and that kind of thing goes, if we're not leasing, if it's licensing, is there a term to the license, and is there renewal?
There is not a specific term. Either party may terminate on 30 days notice.
Okay. And will there be any build out or accommodations that the licensee will put in to accommodate their business?
The agreement does specify that they will have some personal property that they will put in place in order to serve their clientele. Okay. Did you have anything to add to that, Cheryl?
No, all the property that she's putting in is hers, that she's purchased. So that will remain with her, and it would be able to be removed from there if she ever decides to leave. We already had a lot of things in place with the prior coffee shop that was in there. So there was a sink and a lot of the electrical outlets and so on. We removed some of those since she won't need as many as were there. The coffee shop that was there before also had a roaster, so we didn't need as much of the electrical outlets. So, but all the other material that's going in there is her own.
Do you know offhand the square footage that they will occupy? I see a drawing, but I'm not finding, at least in a cursory search, the square footage.
I believe it's 192 square feet. She believes it's 192 square feet. Sorry, we don't have that in here. It's a small corner.
And I think for the board's sake, for reference, I believe commercial space goes for approximately $1 plus per square foot for counter reference. But again, that's solely owned, leased out space, so for cross reference.
Okay. Ms. Long, any questions?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Linda
Hey, Ron.
Meisner has a
I have a question. If we ever get out of this COVID mess and the seniors return to their Monday and Friday lunches, what effect will that have as far as the use of the kitchen?
None. The use of the kitchen is early morning hours.
Yeah, I read that.
Right, and
Okay.
so it will not, and she's very well aware. Our seniors come first when it's back, but that's why this is early morning hours.
Okay, I'm satisfied with that.
Okay. Will entertain a motion?
I move that we approve the license agreement for coffee and food vending.
I'll second it.
A motion second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carried. And can you holler at them, Lori? Thank you. I think this next one's up for table. Oh, the mayor's coming. I better sit back.
Do we have a coffee shop?
We do.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Sit down for a spot of tea.
What?
Never mind.
Are you looking forward to my first cup of coffee? Just saying.
Yes. Yeah. A good day for us.
All right. Do we really need to do the next resolution? Is it that important?
That's what I said. It was up for table, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm going home now.
That waits laughing in the snowstorm.
Because the next resolution is 2105, appointment of town clerk, Cheryl Powell, town administrator.
Yes, Mayor and trustees. As we've talked before, Carrie has done a tremendous job in all the times she had filled in when I was in that position. I am delighted that she is willing to take this on. In the time that she has been serving as acting, I think she's done a remarkable job. So. You make me cry. And she's not going to cry.
All right. Let's see if we have any discussion on the matter. Mayor Pro Tem Leon Ehrlich.
I think it's a great opportunity for you to be aboard as town clerk.
Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Long.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Granquist.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Trustee Wakeman.
I'm thrilled. Good move, Carrie.
Thank you.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Well, I'm excited that you've moved forward, and I think you've done an excellent job filling in and taking on the role. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Trustee Meisner.
I'm really glad that we are appointing from within.
So am I.
I'll second that one.
All right, so I'll take a motion on the matter.
Motion we approve resolution 21-05.
Second.
Acting town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I guess we will now start calling you town clerk.
Thank you.
The oath.
I'm sorry?
Don't you have to do the oath?
I think so.
You know, let me clarify, Liz. Will we be doing the oath in the next meeting, or?
It's an appointment.
It's an appointment, so no, we don't have to.
Okay.
So, there you go. Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is resolution number 2108, support of Civica. Cheryl Powell, Town Administrator, do you have any comments on this?
No, other than I'm really excited.
Okay, terrific. All right, so let me read the resolution. Town of Milliken, Colorado, resolution number 2108, supporting Civica Colorado. Whereas Civica Colorado College and Career Academics received a charter to open a grades 6 through 12 public charter school in the Weld RE5J School District. And whereas Civica Colorado offers a proven academic plan and school model that produce high-achieving students and high graduation rates. And whereas the Town of Milliken understands and desires to support innovative education options like Civica Colorado. And whereas charter schools are public schools that do not charge tuition and enroll any student who wants to attend, often through random lottery when the demand for enrollment is outmatched by the supply of available charter school seats. And whereas public charter schools promote innovation and excellence in public education, and whereas Civica is a college and career academics model middle and high school with a focus on building citizens with character, and whereas Civica is a career technical education school and will open with 3 academics, health sciences, Northern Colorado industries, and business and information systems. And whereas the Town of Milliken desires to express support for Civica Colorado, now therefore be it resolved by Town Board of the Town of Milliken of Colorado that the board members of the Town of Milliken hereby supports the Civica Colorado College and Career Academies for the betterment of our children, our families, and our community. I will take a motion.
Second.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2102. Now you can second.
I'm sorry, I was just very focused. Okay, I second. Sorry.
So we have a motion by Trustee Granquist. We have a second by Trustee Rodriguez.
Sorry, I'm just very excited.
First time, Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Long,
Yes.
Trustee Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Congratulations. Okay, that concludes the action items on our agenda. We now will move to a discussion agenda for cash in lieu. So, in 2004, we have an intergovernmental agreement between the Town of Milliken and the RE5J School District that provided cash in lieu funds paid by developers building homes in Milliken. The cash in lieu is in place of developers donating land for new schools because as they build more houses, the families increase the number of students attending our schools. The reason for the cash in lieu is it allows the school district greater discretion in spending funds for new schools, school expansion, site acquisition, or capital outlay, as described in page 11 of your packet, which is in section 7, paragraph C. Now, because we do have some newer board members who might be a little confused, we have Wade Nickerson, our finance director, to explain capital outlay. Thank you.
Good evening. Mayor asked me to kind of help explain capital outlay. So I tried to look up, kind of summarize the simplest way I can say it. So capital outlay is an investment, and that's an investment made to purchase new assets or to extend the life of existing assets. Okay, so an example of a capital asset is putting up a new building. Okay, maybe and this is very common, it's putting a new roof. You put a $100,000 roof on a commercial building, that's a capital asset because it has extended the life of that older asset. You can define capital outlay, vehicles are capital outlay, equipment is capital outlay. What's not capital outlay is, painting the rooms inside your office, or an example, something like, replacing tile. That's maintenance. Those things wear out. Those are generally smaller dollars versus the capital outlay piece. And so I can explain further, but I'm just trying to kind of give you the highlights, give a couple examples. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to ask them or answer them. Sorry.
Okay. As we go through this, we may have a few other questions, so stand by. Okay.
I'll be here.
All right, so it's noted that in the 2004 agreement, that was signed by then Mayor Linda Meisner, who is a current sitting board member on our board today as a trustee. On 12/12/2018, the Milliken Town Board approved the 2018 IGA that amended the 2004 amount from $791 to $924 per residence. At that time, I was the mayor pro tem, and I presided over that meeting because the mayor could not make the meeting. Also present were the current mayor pro tem, Leron Ehrlich, and trustee Peggy Wakeman. Trustee Wakeman recused herself from the vote at that time as a conflict. So we have 4 sitting board members who have participated and/or approved these IGAs. Our town attorney submitted a Colorado Open Records request to RE5J School District for us to understand the scope and use of the cash in lieu funds. Your packet contains information related to this request for discussion tonight. Johnstown also has a cash in lieu agreement with the school district, and spending in your packet, some of it is reported as combined funds. So there are a few things that we just wanted to bring up for discussion. I think we need further clarification. If you look at page 22 of your packet, there's a 2018 letter from the school district with an update on the funds. The third paragraph indicates a zero balance for the cash in lieu as of June 20th, 2018. However, the report on page 24 of your packet for June 30th, 2018 indicates a balance of $244,826.34. So we would like follow-up from Matthew Gould to get some clarification for the difference in the report numbers. The next page of the letter indicates the district leased property. This is a little confusing, as we need further clarification if the property that they're referring to is land, or is it the modular classrooms?
I'm sorry, could you provide that page reference again?
I'll give it to you after the...
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's better.
I'll give it to you. Okay. Section 2, in the 2014 modification of leases to a total of 8 classrooms with work to install coming to $2.2 million, a little over that, is a bit concerning. I noticed in Civica's plans for purchasing 8 modular classrooms, including plumbing and site work, coming to approximately $1 million. The modulars that they were purchasing were about $800,000. So we'd like a little clarification on, was the cash in lieu for those modulars, and what came to the $2.2 million. And then point 3 needs clarification regarding what property was leased to add additional seating to the athletic field. I believe when we discussed collecting this cash in lieu fee to assist with school expansion due to additional students, I don't believe that we intended the funds to be used for concession stands and things of that nature. We don't really see how that benefits additional students attending the school district. Page 25 The school district's cash and lieu spending from July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017 totaled $127,775.63 for soffit repair, restriping, leak repair, new locks and systems at various schools, painting, steel barricades, scoreboard for Roosevelt High School, blinds and shades, concrete work, and plumbing repairs. I think we need further clarification. This doesn't appear to fit with capital outlay. It appears to be more maintenance. Page 24, the cash and lieu spending from July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018, totaling $128,891.67, was for additional lock systems at various schools, playground equipment, Pezzer meters to measure groundwater at Milliken Middle School, ramp repair at Ledford Elementary. Any questions on those expenditures by the board? Anything that you would like to have the town attorney get additional clarification on? It's open discussion.
When we get the clarifications, will we also get a clarification on what of these classify as capital expenses?
Well, I do need to clarify one point. Under the Open Records Act, we cannot ask that records be created. So it's not set up to allow us to ask questions. I'm going to have to take a look at the issues that have been identified, and we'll have to figure out what avenue is available for us to explore that further. But it may not be the Open Records Act.
Okay.
So I think I would redirect into our final. Are these somewhat clear and defined? Is it easy to define this is capital, this is not? Is there some standard or basis?
So based on the report, I believe that they believe that these are capital outlay. I personally I do not agree with that. I don't believe that fixing leaks is a capital outlay. That's a repair. It's repair and maintenance. If you replace the roof because it's leaking, okay, maybe that's capital. But when I look at the report, these were all capitalized expenditures.
Capital expenses also are depreciated over a period, right?
Normally, yes.
Normally over 5 years or some period.
Based on the life of the item,
right.
Yes. Very correct.
Is there then some understanding we can gain based on the depreciation of these items as to whether or not they would be literally capital expenses? If they're not depreciated over a period, then it would seem to be more a sustaining cost.
So these things, in my research, looking at what's available, on their website for financial records, none of these are individually identified.
Okay.
I assume, once again, these are assumptions I'm making based on information I have, that probably they're included in their buildings and improvements type of line item that is being depreciated.
I think my only request would be when you get the clarifications, if you could then, mark which ones would be considered, at least by our standards, capital versus expense.
Any other questions to this point? Yeah. Page 12 of your packet is part of the agreement, paragraph 8A. We were to receive an annual report in October with the cash and lieu expenditures and audit oversight. We do not have these reports on file. Paragraph 8D indicates the town was to receive annual audit reports. We do not have those either. Page 29, the school district's audit report indicating the cash and lieu fund is part of the special reserve funds and is legally restricted to the expenditures for the specified purposes. So therefore, I think we just need to see if we can get more clarification and then have further discussion if the board has any further questions. So is there anything further at this point?
I would just request to know why we didn't get our annual reports that we were supposed to be receiving.
Well, that is something that I don't believe that the school board can answer. I cannot answer for them, but from previous communication that I've received from the superintendent, the individual that was supposed to produce these left employment of the school board, or the school, excuse me, sometime last year. It's a little bit unclear, sometime April, May, June, something like that, and unfortunately has passed away, recently passed away. So I think it would not be, you can't ask them to produce something that they don't have. Any other questions? Okay. Moving on with the board meeting, the other reports in your packet are written reports. Are there any questions of the police report or the Western Equipment report? No questions. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're done for the night. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.